I mean, the idea of the monster lurking within is really our own psychologies, and that has always been a part of True Detective, but I think is more interesting in this season than any of the others.
That was good. Until it wasn't.
True Detective season 4 subtitle is Night Country.
Yes.
And it seems very obvious why the title is because of the permanent night, etc., etc. But the title made me think about an Argentinian writer named Julio Cortázar, because he used to say that darkness promotes crimes and violence, but darkness also promotes love and intimate situations for lovers. So I think that those two aspects from the darkness are in this show, and it's not like they are opposite, they are connected through your character. So I would like to know, Jodie, what did you think about that?
That's a really interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that what it is a kind of intimacy that comes with the night and not being able to see beyond, so that things like fears are right there at the surface in ways that wouldn't be true. So yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's use that one.
Yeah. And Kali, this season opens with a fascinating quote that questions what kind of beast the night dreams, and considering the story through the episodes and your characters, that quote not only is about the dreams of the night, I think mostly is about what the monsters dreams about, A monsters have a monster, what they fear about. And I would like to know, what do you think about that? Because I think that question, it's in the entire season.
So in the entire season, it's a really good perspective for Navarro, because she's on the surface walking between two worlds, but there's so much more to the monsters that she thinks are calling her, have their own calling as well. So it's kind of something that's drawing her. And I think the biggest monster is her vulnerability. That's a monster to her, but it's really her truest strength. Yeah, it's her strength, and when she finally gives into that, so she's afraid to dream. You know what I mean? She's too busy to dream and too busy trying to take care of everybody else. So yeah, that's a really good perspective, a really good dive into it.
If you read some reviews from the past seasons from the show, they always describe True Detective as a macho cop franchise.
Right.
With this season, they say that, well, the main difference is that there are two female characters in front of everything. But I think that's not the point, or it's a very superficial take on a show that it's more complex, especially with this season, because the story is full of somber male characters, but the most interesting thing is how these women have to confront this situation with violence or with no violence.
It's something that, they live. We haven't been able to see a story told with two female leads, but they live in a very dominant male world, and you get to see their perspective on dealing with that. How do they, we see males dealing with males, we don't see females dealing with females in a very male-dominated position, so it's very contradictory. And they do relate to the victims and the criminals and the darkness way different than the males do. As my character specifically being of the Anupiaq descent and Dominican descent, that land, that area, that the way indigenous people, we are very matriarchal. And, we have the people that make decision makers, and being a part of that community, but really not knowing why or how is something that was really immersed in that character. And it's just a huge shift to everything.
True Detective has always been a show that uses a very distinctive narrative, through spiritual situations or metaphysical concepts. And this is not the exception, but I think that this season is terrifying, is full of horror, not only because of the permanent night or the brutality, the violence. It's because Issa represents how the mind is always playing with the people, and how their fears and desires came in form of ghosts and monsters and legends that come alive.
Thank God that Issa brought back the horror.
Yes.
We're so grateful to that, because I think she really understood that how powerful the horror and thriller and psychological drama is, and that they can exist together. Sansa Lambs is a good reminder of that. And I think a part of it is the precedent for this show. But yeah, I mean, the idea of the monster lurking within is really our own psychologies. That has always been a part of True Detective, but I think is more interesting in this season than any of the others.
We don't have anything.
Sure you're up for this?